Welcome to Denver Startup Week. I'm Ben Data, co-chair of DSW. This year marks the 10-year anniversary of Denver Startup Week. This community has been the catalyst for lots of change over the past decade, and this week we're coming together to celebrate the past and dream big for the future. We are able to bring Denver Startup Week to this community thanks to our 2021 sponsors. Thank you to our HQ and title sponsor, Amazon, and our title sponsors, whose leadership makes this week come to life. Capital One Cafe, Downtown Denver Partnership, Fluid Truck, Hotel Engine, and WeWork. And our track sponsors, who have made all of the great content you're hearing today possible. Founder Track, Kickstart, Growth Track, Friday Health Plans, Developer Track, Quizlet, Product Track, Palantir, Designer Track, Battery 621 in the Public Works, People Track, Exactly, and Spotlight event sponsor, Strat Labs. Our headline event sponsors are bringing the excitement this week. Thank you to B-Side Fun, Colorado Public Radio, Comcast, Coors Brewing Company, Denver Pavilions, Entrepreneurship at the University of Denver, Gusto, JP Morgan Chase, Method, Moss Adams, Pine Insurance, Promontory Mortgage Path, Red Bull Basement, Southwest, Tattered Cover, and VF Venture Foundry. Finally, thank you to our partner and member sponsors listed on the screen. Please say thank you to these companies as you enjoy our hybrid Denver Startup Week. And don't forget to use hashtag Den Startup Week to share your experience and moments of inspiration on social media. Have a great week.
Hello everyone, welcome to Denver Startup Week. I'm John, the Spotlight Track Chair and member of the Denver Startup Week Organizing Committee. Thank you for joining us for the 10th anniversary of Denver Startup Week. At Denver Startup Week, we strive to make all of our sessions a space where attendees can connect, learn, and grow regardless of age, gender identity, gender expression, race, ability, or sexual orientation. A special thank you to our sponsors for their support in helping us keep DSW free and accessible for all. Thank you for joining us and have a great week.
Wow, what wonderful and professional videos. Yay! Denver Startup Week. It's happening. Wow. Jay, let's get ready, everybody, as I introduce our host for the show, or co-host, technically. Everybody, welcome to the stage, a 20-year sales veteran, comedy producer, and recovering stand-up comedian. He's worked with some of the biggest names in entertainment, including the Miami Marlins, TEDx, and Live Nation. And as managing partner of Pitch Lab, he combines the worlds of comedy and sales to help you differentiate from the competition, build stronger relationships, and help more clients. Everybody give a warm welcome, be it physical or with emojis, to Jamie. Oh, look, some good hands in the crowd. Look at those.
You know how it is. You know how it is, Daniel.
Mhm.
Validation is what us comedians thrive on. To walk onto a silent stage, it's a brave new world, Daniel. It's a brave new world.
And it's validation from strangers, more importantly, not the ones we know and love.
All right, I'm going to introduce Daniel proper later. Let's start off with a quick story. These are my two kids. My wife speaks 3 languages. I speak only 1. My wife has to go out of town on work. And I was like, babe, don't even worry about it. I totally got this. Babe, don't worry about it. Just go. Just go. She hadn't been gone for 3 minutes. I'm trying to get little man's shoes on. And it was a struggle. He was not having it. He looks me right in the eyes and says, Shua, Shua. And I had no idea what he was saying, but I was like, I knew I was defeated. I said, whatever. We grabbed the shoes, we threw them in the car, and off we went. Later that night, it's dinner time. And I got to get him to drink his milk. So I stir in the Nesquik real good like he likes. I hand it to him. I'm like, buddy, if you want to get big and strong like Captain America, you got to drink your milk. Again, he looks me right in the eyes and he says, no, Shua, Shua. And I'm like, ah, what is he saying to me? So my wife comes back into town. He says it a 3rd time. And I'm like, babe, what is this Shua he keeps talking about? And she looks at him, looks at me, looks at him, and says, monkey, do you mean Fikanasua? And he says, yeah, Shua. And she says, oh, Jay, he's been telling you in Portuguese to mind your own business. Now, the question here is not who's in charge in my house, but the question is, when it comes to presentation skills, does everyone on this Zoom meeting speak the same language? So welcome to Pitch Lab. What we're going to talk about tonight is how to be a more confident, engaging, authentic presenter using stand-up comedy. And now I, in turn, am going to introduce Daniel. And if I could just take a moment to pause here. This is a very meta experience. When you're selling, whether you're a salesperson or you're an entrepreneur, the worst thing that you could do is get up in front of a room of people and introduce yourself and start talking about yourself. Anytime that you have the opportunity to let someone introduce you, go for it. That way, when you get on stage, you can get right to it, whether it's some type of question, some type of poll, some type of quick story. But at all costs, you really don't want to be introducing yourself. So thank you, Daniel, for the killer introduction. And I, in turn, am going to introduce you. So ladies and gentlemen, my co-host in Pitch Lab, America's favorite instructor, please welcome to the stage an entertainer with 14 years experience as a stand-up comedian, actor, and entertainer. Throughout his career, he's performed in Comedy Central South Beach Comedy Festival and was named Best Comedian in Miami by Miami New Times. Now in Denver, he's a producer, short film award winner, and not.
Oh shit, I muted you. I went to.
Is that like how uncomfortable? Is that how uncomfortable you got me reading your credits?
I can't
even bear it.
I can't take all the praise. I went to admit someone and I was like, no, let me mute Jay instead.
That's it. I can't even take it. I can't even take it. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. Daniel Reskin.
Hey, I've been here the whole time.
Feel it, Daniel?
How's it going? Imagine I just came out from behind a velvet curtain. How about that? And I'm all ready and shaved for you. Hold on. There we go.
Delightful.
I just wanted to say, welcome everybody. I appreciate you coming out, and we are here to draw some fun lines to connect the dots between comedy and presentation, public speaking, sales, and personal life stuff, all of that. Being a comedian is not something I would recommend at all, but there's some really fun and amazing experiences and tips and things that you learn, and a lot of them are universal. And Jay and I have been for years now distilling a lot of those and tying them to all sorts of other aspects of life. And on the one more note, so cool to see these little subtitles at the bottom. I've not seen this feature before. And wow, sometimes it says some weird word. I just thought I was saying something very different. I just want to test it real quick. Tangerines, amoeba. I went to the mayonnaise store and hurt my elbow. Oh, no, he said man is store. They don't think mayonnaise. See, I got you, robot. First point, human touch is irreplaceable. Plenty of tips to come. Thank you for having us. Let me get my beard back.
Nailed it. Nailed it.
Back to you.
Can you give me a beard, or does it not work like that?
That will take some more time and some paste and an electric shaver, but we got this.
All right. So like Daniel said, he was a much more successful comedian than me, but I did stand-up comedy for about a decade. And when I was doing stand-up comedy, I thought my path to success was going to be like headlining comedy clubs, my own HBO comedy special, and a reoccurring role on Curb Your Enthusiasm. And what I found out is that wasn't going to happen for me. But even though I wasn't having the success I wanted on stage, I was having the success as a salesperson. And all of a sudden a light bulb went off. So I was either, heartbroken or stoked, however you want to look at it. I figured out that there was a connection between comedy and sales, comedy and presentation skills, and these skills translate like Daniel said, whether you're a salesperson, entrepreneur, pitching investors, or just someone at work that has to stand up in front of your room. So why are we here?
Or a romantic situation.
Say again?
Or an off-the-clock romantic situation.
All right.
These tips are good
here for
forever.
Is we want you. He's got a lot on his mind, folks. He's about to propose this weekend. He's about to propose, And I think that's what he's thinking about. Okay, we'll
Gulp.
stop. But we want you to have one takeaway that makes you excited next time you get up in front of a prospect, investor, in front of your room. So that is our goal. We're going to be giving you a ton of actionable takeaways, and we want you to have at least one. If you jump into chat real quick, here's our latest ebook with all of our tips. If you do not want to stick around, and that would really hurt our feelings, we really hope that you do. But here's a link to the ebook, and I'll put it in again later. See, Lydia says congrats. All right, so let's jump in. That's our why. Next question, and this is by show of hands. So if you don't want to light yourself up on video, show me a hand on reaction. But by show of hands, who in here in your personal life has ever bailed on buying a product or service because you did not like the salesperson? Anybody have that experience? Thanks, Derek. Awesome. All right. And conversely, who in here has bought something you really didn't need because you liked the salesperson? You had a connection with that salesperson. All right, Lydia, Augusta, anybody want to jump into chat and tell us what you bought? You don't have to tell us the whole story, but just in chat, what did you end up buying? You felt a connection, you liked, you trusted that salesperson. Just drop it in chat for me. I'd love to see.
Yeah, or if anyone wants to jump on a video, we're happy to have an anecdote or two.
How do you say it? Noah?
Barbecue grill. Oh, that's a good one.
That is a great one, Lydia.
Someone was just like,
cereal.
This bad boy gonna grill you some steaks. Cereal. A cereal salesperson. Those charismatic cereal dealers, I tell you.
I love it.
On Virgin Galactic. Yeah, congrats. I'm glad you made it out there.
That was awesome. All right.
I definitely could sympathize with buying something I didn't quite want, because I was like, last time I was traveling, the airport had this really like fancy chocolatier. That's how you know it's fancy. It's not even a chocolate shop, it's chocolatier. And this dude had he like detailed how he went to Madagascar and like taught the children how to cultivate cocoa beans, and they've all put their hands in the dirt. And I was like, oh my God, yes, I will pay $35 for this very tiny Andes Mint chocolate. And it tasted like the hands in the dirt. It was awful, but I felt like charity what do you call him, a philanthropist for supporting that person.
I love it. Number one answer we get, Daniel and I have been doing pitch labs for 5 years now. Number one answer we get is juicers. So next time you're in the mall, beware of very charismatic juicer salespeople. That's just a quick tip. That is the number one answer we get. All right. Daniel, what do you got in there? Ditto on craft chocolate. All right, Zach, ditto on craft chocolate. You are not the only one. So the punchline here is, why are we talking about this? We're talking about this because it's not just what you're saying, it's how you say it. And we at Pitch Lab believe that you are the differentiator. Again, whether you're a salesperson, whether you're an entrepreneur, whatever the message is you're giving for your team, the differentiator is you. Who's that, Daniel? Do you know who that comedian is?
That's Tiffany Haddish.
Did you see her Netflix movie, the what was it, Road Trip?
Yeah.
Bad Trip?
Yeah, with Eric Andre.
I couldn't even recognize her. I had to look it up. I was like, who is this? Yeah, it was really good. All right, let's keep rolling. The differentiator is you. So here's where we do an icebreaker. Derek, I would love it if you would do it. Shahan, you down to do this? Derek, Shahan?
Lydia.
Who do we got? Lydia. All right, so we're gonna do an icebreaker called comedy karaoke, and I am going to hand it off to Daniel. This is a safe place, folks. All right, so I got 4 people.
So what Jay is going to be doing is messaging you a couple jokes that you can choose from. In musical karaoke, you sing someone else's song. Here in comedy karaoke, you will be saying someone else's joke. So the pressure is off you to be brilliant. It's just about saying it. And while we're getting that out there, well, these are all one-liner jokes. Is anyone familiar with one-liner as a style of comedy? It's a very kind of a fun niche that a lot of people like Stephen Wright, Dimitri Martin, Mitch Hedberg, very beloved. A lot of people do this very specific thing, but it's very hard. Most stand-up comedians look at it like wow, dude, because what you're doing is taking these funny ideas and you're distilling them to like the tiniest possible delivery system you can, just one line to be able to get that across. And not only is that hard to do, it also means your jokes are very short, and now you need like 3 or 10 times as more jokes to fill the normal space of someone like me who can spend 3 minutes talking about weed and my cats, etc. So it's a hallowed tradition, and we are happy to have you add to this glorious tradition. How are we doing on the? Do I still have to milk?
I think we just got 3. So I loaded up Derek, Lydia, and Zach. Does anybody else want to do this? How about another female? Abigail, do you want to, or Rachel, do you want to join?
Any NB people out there? Everybody gets a shot.
Okay. All right. I'm going to take that as no. We're just going to do 3, Daniel.
Sweet.
So you got Zach, Derek, and Lydia.
And
all right.
And so as you see behind Jay, it's not just the joke. Before you tell us the joke, please share with us your name, your general goal with presentations, and then take a deep breath and deliver that joke. And to start, who's ready? Should we start with anyway? Derek, you ready?
I can start.
Yeah, dog. Take it away.
Hi guys, my name's Derek. I go to school at Metro, so I had to pick 2 things to watch during startup week, and I love going to comedy shows, so this one stood out.
All right.
Alrighty. I had a piece of carefree sugarless gum, now still worried. It never kicked in.
And who was that? What comedian was that?
Mitch Hedberg.
Oh,
this guy.
What a guy. What a guy. Well done, Derek. Well done. That was our opener. Now it's time for our feature act tonight. She just flew in town from filming her new Netflix special. Everyone give it up for Lydia.
Hello, Lydia Mcmahon. I am in HR and I do lots of presentations about the future of work. So of course, I'd like to make them more engaging. And I look at husbands the same way I look at tattoos. I want one, but I don't want to be stuck with one that I'm going to hate and have to surgically remove later. That's Margaret. Ciao.
Yeah. Joe in the house. Well done. And this brings us to our headliner, all the way from the animated Bob's Burger universe. Everybody give it up for Zach.
Thank you. My name's Zach Shammy, and I talk to people all the time. So the more lively I can, send them energy, the better. So Halloween is my favorite holiday because you don't have to celebrate it with your family.
Nailed it. Who was that?
Dimitri Martin.
Amazing. Everybody give a digital round of applause for our participants. Thank you for being our volunteers.
They were all really good, Daniel. Controlled, right? I mean, confident, poised. It was really good. How come everybody's in Bob Burgers except me?
I decided it looked cool over there. So I was like, you know what? Let me say it's not. I'm actually watching him from this viewpoint. It's great.
All right. So let's talk, Daniel. Let's talk a little bit about stage fright. It doesn't seem like anybody was really nervous to do that. I know Zoom is different than in person, but let's talk about it.
Definitely. Stage fright. One of the biggest things people worry about and think that they should somehow get over it. Is that even possible, Jay?
No, I think here's my deal with stage fright. Everyone gets stage fright. And if someone tells you they never get stage fright, they are lying. Because I can find a situation to put them in where the stakes are high enough where they will get stage fright. Now, that doesn't mean you have to get stage fright every time. I'm not saying you have to get it every time. But to say you never get it, it's just impossible because we get stage fright, Daniel, because we care. Nail it, Daniel.
That's it. The weird thing is, like, if you're not feeling anything, you might not give a shit about what you're about to do, and that's a problem. It's it's a raging river of energy. And if you think you can just dam it closed and then sit on this like still Zen pond, like you're all above this stuff and you're not a human with feelings and chemicals pumping through your blood, it's not the right attempt. The better way is to try and divert that energy to control the flow of that energy. And what's a good way to remember that, Jay?
It's not about killing the butterflies. It's about getting the butterflies to fly in formation. And the first time I heard that was Daniel, but he lets me say it. He lets me say it because it makes me feel smart. But this was actually Daniel. It's not about killing the butterflies, getting the butterflies to fly in formation. And here's your 3 words. You say over and over again to hack that brain of yours. I am excited. I am excited. I am excited. Because when we talk about stage fright and nervousness, me personally, I get sweaty. And so I put on a dark shirt. If it's really bad, I get so like nervous. I don't know if I'm going to stand up or sit down. And like, I don't know if I'm going to pass out. And shortness of breath. I haven't had that in a while, but I was really nervous. I'm up here like this. But the punchline here is whatever symptoms you have, whatever symptoms that stage fright gives you, they're more closely related to excitement than calming down. So the wrong thing to do is to try, when you're feeling these symptoms, is to calm down. You just want to say, I am excited. And what does that do, Daniel? That kind of flips the lens on it. It kind of changes the perspective. What do you say on that?
It's framing. It's just, I mean, it's kind of bullshit, but it is legit. Like you are kind of just emphasizing the other side. Like it's 2 sides of the same coin, from nervousness and excitement. And like, I would feel mine in my stomach, and I just kind of feel like non-human and not want to eat or drink and just wither into like a little piece of jerky. That was how I coped with pre-show jitters. And it's gone from like a month before the show to like a week before the show to like the night of the show, but it's still there. And it really is, you can frame it in a lot of ways, not just I am excited, but like a gig will be coming up and I'm like, I have to do this. I have to do this. But it's not that. It's I get to do this. I get a cool opportunity to do something that might be outside my comfort zone, might be pushing myself to a new level, but I have to understand that even if I fail spectacularly, that I will be better for it. That doing this process is a process. I won't be perfect at it right away. It could go great. And actually, one of the weird things is the worse it goes, the more you learn. Like when you have a great show, you walk off stage, you high five, you say thanks, you get compliments. But when you have an awful show and you bomb, whether it be comedy or a presentation, you cannot stop thinking and obsessing. What did I do? What was it? Was it that word? Was it the thing? And that is what leads to growth. It's really uncomfortable.
I love it. I love it. And last piece, to sum it up, it's not a threat, it's an opportunity. I am excited. What science shows us is when you say that before you go on, you're not necessarily going to feel different. But what science shows us is you're going to perform better, you're going to speak better, you're going to present better, you're going to pitch better, you're going to sing karaoke downtown post-COVID better. It's all going to be better. And that is science, folks. That is not Daniel and Jay, 2 wacky comedians. That is science. So let's keep rolling. We got 3 more tips for you. Stand-up comedy pro tips. We're going to talk about the world of stand-up comedy, and then we're going to draw some really cool parallels as to how you can be a better presenter. Let's go in. First module here. This is my favorite. It's the power of silence. Hit me in chat. Anybody know who this is? Anybody know who this is? Hit me in chat.
Someone better know. Come
Great
on.
job. We got it. Wanda Sykes. Wanda Sykes,
Yeah.
we got it.
Psych.
Wanda is famous for getting huge laughs on stage by doing nothing except staring at the audience with a look of mock disdain and getting huge laughs. There are very few people in this world that understand the power of silence like stand-up comedians. I'm going to let Daniel tell a story about local favorite Anybody know who this guy is? Anybody know who this guy is? Local Denver favorite.
This is bonus points if you know this dude. He was on Last Comic Standing, has had a Comedy Central Presents. He's a Denver hometown hero.
He was on Stand Down podcast, that really famous podcast.
Yes, that famous podcast that I run and no one knows about. It is John Denver, very astute. Before he got into that whole Rocky Mountain High, he was very high in a different way. No, this is Ben Kronberg. Ben Kronberg. Do Google him. We'll write his name in the chat.
I'll do it. You go. You tell the story. I'll do it.
He has this opener that he does sometimes where he will just come out on stage and he won't do anything. Usually when comics come out on stage, they're, oh, hey, how you doing? They're like almost desperate to like break that silence, but he just sits in it and it can be very uncomfortable. And yeah, Jay was very desperate to make a connection immediately. Ben will just sit there and he'll look at you, take a couple deep breaths. He'll pull out his notebook and maybe check his jokes, stuff like that. And he'll build this tension, depending on the room, anywhere from a couple of seconds to minutes, which can drive people nuts. It can kind of split the room, like a lot of good comedy. And then finally, what he does is when the tension gets right to that moment, that peak, he looks up and looks around and goes, what? Like when you get to your job, you start working right away? And everyone just goes, oh my God. And it breaks this tension. And they're like, okay, I get what he was doing. It was a thing. It had worth. Thank you. Comedy. I think I reversed the line. I think it's you start working right when you get to your job.
I think you nailed it. I think you nailed it.
All right, good enough. It's not even my joke. Who cares if I don't do it? Yeah, it's anti-comedy for sure. You will love. And if you're ever near Denver, he has local shows. We'll talk about it later, but go see him live. Go see me live on his show.
Are you going to be on his show?
Of course I will.
That's a good point. Like, why wouldn't you? All right, so let's talk about dramatic pause. By show of hands, by show of yellow hands, folks,
Simpsons
your yellow
out there.
emoji hands. Who in here has been told you talk too fast? You got to slow down. You talk too fast. Show me some hands. We got a bunch of slow talkers in here, Daniel. Here's your first takeaway from this module. You don't talk too fast. You're not pausing enough. That's a lot of hands up, Daniel. You don't talk too fast. You're not pausing enough. I think that when a speaker gets on stage or an entrepreneur that's up in front of investors, when you're speaking fast, you're passionate, you're emotional, you're really into what you're saying. And I think it could even come off as intelligent. However, if you keep talking and talking and talking and talking and talking and talking and talking at a rapid pace, you're doing yourself and your presentation a disservice. So what you want to do is talk as fast as you want, but you got to drop some pauses in there. Like a stand-up comedian is using that dramatic pause between the setup and the punchline, boom, to build tension, to get those huge laughs. That's how we have to use dramatic pause to truly be heard. When we use dramatic pause, we're letting our audience catch up and process the things we're saying. We want to use dramatic pause when you want to be more engaging, when you want to be more confident. We want to use dramatic pause like a designer uses white space.
Like a fancy chef uses a big old plate to put just a little sizzle of sauce and a little foam crab rangoon.
That's it. You're like, what? You make the joke. What? Is this the large? Is this the large? And you're like, yeah, it's a lot of white space. My plate is making a dramatic pause. My story is as a salesperson, I've sold for over 20 years now. And early on in my professional services career, when I do the presentation and I'd get to that investment estimate, I get to that price tag, I would start to get nervous and insecure. I was like, that's really expensive. That's really expensive. And so I'd get to the investment estimate slide and I'd say, and your investment estimate is $70,000 a month for the next 6 months. But if you think that's too expensive, we'll go back, we'll rescope that, and we'll be right back with something cheaper. Now, I'm not saying the old school way of negotiating is, say the price and he who speaks next loses. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is I was doing my company and myself a disservice by not putting the investment estimate out there and just letting it sit for a second instead of spinning my own insecurities on what that price tag is.
A pausing. See, that was a pause. That was a preemptive pause. Usually they make more sense during the middle of a sentence, but so, sometimes you can start a sentence with one. I'm a fan of it. Do I have anything to say for this?
No. I'm just going to tell a quick story and we're going to do another breakout exercise. I think we should do Lydia. So here's another quick story. My daughter's second grade class, they were asking for public speaking volunteers, public speaking coaches. And I jumped at it. I was like, yeah, I would love to teach a bunch of second graders how to do public speaking because I never got an opportunity at that age, right? I dealt with stage fright throughout my career. And so what the assignment was is these second graders had to bring in either a poem or a nursery rhyme or a movie scene from home, get it copied on a piece of paper, and they would read it in front of the class. And if any of you have kids or if any of you have ever coached second graders in public speaking, you are not going to get them to slow down. They are just not going to slow down. So what I did, I had a light bulb. Boom. Can you put a light bulb up there? Boop. I had a light bulb moment. I took a big black marker, a big black Sharpie, and I put a huge black dot. And I said, I want you to talk as fast as you want. Read these poems as fast as you want. But when you get to that big black dot, I need you to do a big dramatic pause. And they said, Coach Jay. And I love that. I love being called coach because I was never like great at sports growing up. So to be called coach was like a huge thing. And I was like, yes. They said, Coach Jay, how long is a dramatic pause? And I said, it's 3 beats. 1, 2, 3. And so they read as fast as they could. And then when they got to there, 1, 2, 3, and it worked like a charm. So the night of the big show, it was 6 p.m. We invited the parents. They turned the gym into an auditorium. There was spotlights, microphones, and the second graders killed it. And I was patting myself on the back like, yeah, you did a great job until I saw 2 parents in front of me talking. And they're like, why do the second graders look like a bunch of folk singers up there? And it broke my heart and it hurt my feelings, but still that dramatic pause, that did it. So what we're going to do is a quick exercise. This is a comedy karaoke do-over. Lydia, do you feel like doing this? Lydia, are you still there? Or are you having supper?
Or someone new. Nice.
She's still here.
Yeah.
I haven't
We haven't lost everyone yet.
on off camera.
It's all right, Lydia. It's just going to be the 3 of us. This is a private pitch lab session, courtesy of Denver Startup Week and Fluid Truck. Are you ready for this?
Okay.
All right, here we go. So I'm going to actually screen share so you can see this. But just like what I did with the second graders, I have a joke up here with a dot. And what Daniel and I want you to do is when I say go, we want you to do a dramatic pause for 3 beats before you start. Then I want you to read to the black dot, pause for 3 beats, and then finish the joke. How does that sound?
Okay.
All right, let's do it. And I'm going to screen share now so you can see it real big. Got it?
Okay. So I should start? Okay.
Yeah. All right. So go.
I haven't slept for 10 days. Because that would be too long.
That was really good.
Whoa.
Usually people screw that up, Lydia, believe it or not. They really screw that up and they go way too fast. That was awesome. Okay, so let's analyze this. So Daniel, is it even a joke without a pause? Explain it to us. Break it down.
It is. I mean, like, especially with one-liner comedy, the pause has so much more of an impact. Because if you just say, I haven't slept for 10 days because that would be too long. It's like, wait, yeah.
What? That's
there's
stupid.
there's no time
It's stupid.
to misdirect the person, essentially. And so much of comedy comes from misdirection and surprise when you reconcile what you meant with what they thought. And so I haven't slept for 10 days. Oh my gosh, you've been awake for 10 days? You must.
I too have had insomnia.
Oh my
I
goodness.
too have felt like that.
because that would be too long. Wait a second. You meant slept for 10 days at a time in a row? You're an insane person. That's not possible. Comedy. These are all the subconscious dialogues that happen in the audience's head. They might not know it. But well done, Lydia.
Yeah, so this is the part where everybody reaches in and grabs a comedy karaoke sheet and we go into breakout rooms and everybody does the exercise. But my gut is telling me just to keep the show rolling. So Lydia, question for you before we go to the next module. You're not going anywhere. We need you. We need you, Lydia. But how long did the pause feel between I haven't slept for 10 days and because that would be too long? How long did that feel in your mind?
Well, I kind of was counting it in my mind instead of being a folk singer.
All good. But how long did it feel?
I like made sure that I was like, okay, one, and like really dragged it on. Like, because if I would have just said 1, 2, 3, like it would have been easy to do. So it definitely felt like an extended one.
Right.
Okay.
Slows
So
down a bit, a little time travel.
That's the punchline here. There is a phenomenon, Lydia, called audience time versus presenter time. So if I try to build suspense like this, before I give you the next tip, for me, that feels terribly awkward, and that felt like 20 seconds. But for you, Lydia, did that really seem like that long of a pause? No. And so what the punchline here is, there's a phenomenon called the difference between audience time and presenter time. We as presenters, actually, let's take it bigger. We as human beings, we hate silence. Silence is uncomfortable. People use silence to their advantage all the time. Teachers do it, therapists do it,
Interviewers.
investigators, interviewers. Yeah, Daniel's an interviewer. If you leave silence out there long enough, somebody's going to slip up and say something because we hate silence. So that feeling we have to fight against, because the audience takes it as confidence. The audience takes it as this is engaging. The audience takes it as a breath. So that's your last takeaway. We're not going into breakout rooms. I just gave you your takeaway, and we're going to keep rolling with the show. So this next one, heads up, Derek and Zach, you're going to need to come back, and maybe Shahan.
Or anyone else who feels like they want to join us.
All right, so we're going to do, that's hilarious. So we're going to do an improv exercise.
Hell yeah, there's no way.
How do you say it? Do you say it no way or no? How do you say your name?
It's no he, as in no he didn't.
No.
No,
no.
he.
Spelling it
There we
super
go.
easy.
No,
Oh,
he.
no.
All right.
Did
So Daniel and I are going to tell you 2 quick stories, and then we're going to do some improv together. As you know, this is a safe space. We're just practicing, but it's going to be awesome. So next one is know when to improvise. So this is us in our career. This is me, and this is Daniel. I put Daniel up higher because he was a lot more successful stand-up comedian than me.
I still take issue with career. More of a failed hobby, really, but it's been a great road.
Don't ruin the illusion. No, okay. All right. So here's the story. So Daniel, tell us about the Comedy Works when you did the contest. You did the Comedy Works contest, and they only gave you 3 minutes. And from what I heard, Daniel, in that contest, at the end of 3 minutes, they did something pretty drastic to the comedians that went long. Tell me that story.
Yeah, they will take you out back and beat you within an inch of your life. And we deserved every licking we got.
No, what do they do when you go over your time? Go back.
Yes, Comedy Works is regarded as the best club in Denver and one of the best clubs in the nation. It's an awesome room. And they have a contest every year that's like the Super Bowl of local comedy. It's a big deal. Everyone gets outside of their minds about it. And you get like 2 or 3 minutes, depending on what round you're in. And it makes you really think about the time. Okay, I've timed myself. I'll say this or that, and then that, and you think you get it perfectly, but I did not get it perfectly. I was not accounting for real life things, for pausing, for maybe they'll actually laugh more than a few seconds at a joke, and that will take up time. Needless to say, I'm like into my closer, getting ready to say my final thing, and then, oh my God, microphone completely cut off. And all of a sudden you're just like, so I had to be like make a funny noise and then escape with my dignity, what was left of it. It happens to a lot of people, but it's it's not the way you'd want to end a set. Not the best way.
I love it. And when I was early in my career, on Tuesday nights, which was the comedy showcase, I only got 2 minutes my first time on stage, and they will, for amateurs, they'll cut the mic and the lights. So you're just standing there like just totally embarrassed. So what I did though, is I'm like, but I can't kill my darlings. I want to do 2 minutes and 20 seconds worth of jokes in 2 minutes, because what if Steven Spielberg is in the crowd? What if Larry David is in the crowd? What if Dave Chappelle is in the crowd and he wants me to open for him? So I did the opposite. I never got the light and the mics cut on me, but my set was ridiculously rushed. And the whole reason you get on stage is to get laughs, but you stop laughing. I'm stepping on laughs. It was ridiculous. The second thing, Daniel, and we're going to get to the point with what this has to do with you. The second thing is, did you early in your career, did you memorize your jokes word for word, or did you just kind of memorize the punchline? What did you do for that?
You're right. It was more of a memorization early on, because you're so new to it, and you kind of have these like train tracks that once you're on, it can be very difficult to jump off and then find the same place to jump back on, which is a skill that comes over time for sure. But eventually you do learn that like trying to memorize like a script, whatever you're going to say, is a complete waste of your mental resources, because you have your beats, just like any script, just like any show, anything, any presentation. You have your beats that you want to hit, and the best way for you to hit them is organically in the moment with who you're with, and not in some pre-planned way that you created in your mind to think will be perfect. You will not know what will be perfect until you are in that room.
Absolutely. And for me, I was the worst. So I only, early on, I only had like 3 really dirty jokes, and I memorized them word for word. And exactly what you said, Daniel. Any heckler, any drinks dropping, anything that happens. Where was I? Because you're reading these jokes off the back of your eyeballs, and I see it all the time. So here's your 2 takeaways. Thanks for listening to us reminisce about the good old days. But the 2 takeaways are, you always want to prepare less content than time allotted. So if you're an entrepreneur, you're a salesperson, you know you have a half hour, you know you have 15 minutes, or you're Daniel Reskin and you know you have a 3-minute set, you want to come with less content. No one does it. Trust me, everybody screws this up. Every sales team I've ever worked with. Prepare less content than time allotted. Kill your darlings, figure out what you want to talk about. And the second thing is, when we talk about authenticity, when we talk about really being real, being present and being in the moment, never, ever, ever memorize a script. That doesn't mean don't know your stuff. You got to know your stuff. You got to know the punchline. You got to know what you're talking about, but never memorize a script word for word. And why is that? Because when you prepare less content and you don't memorize it word for word, you leave room for the room to breathe. You leave room for dramatic pause. You leave room for organic conversation, and you leave room to improvise. So Daniel, what is the best definition that we could give folks before we jump into this exercise? What is the best definition of improvisation that you could possibly give them? You know a good one?
I'm actually not prepared to provide one of these, and I don't think that I could come up with one off the top of my head.
That was really funny. That was really good. You still make me laugh, Daniel.
Oh goodness.
The best definition of improvisation that I ever heard is performing without any preparation or planning. Performing, and you always need to leave some room for that, but it is hard. So before we jump in, hit me in chat, or my folks with video on. Anybody ever heard of the term yes and? Anybody know what that means? I got to shrug. Daniel, what do you think yes and means?
What do I think it means? I know what it means, obviously.
Tell him so we could do our exercise.
Okay, it means that
he knows.
In the improv situation, that no matter what happens that the other person says, you do not negate their statement. You affirm it and build upon it by saying yes. So, bad improv will have 2 people who are not doing this, and someone will be like, wow, it's a lovely day in the pet store. And then people will be like, pet store? We're on Jupiter. What are you talking about? And then the audience is like, Jesus, what's going on? Are you in a pet store on Jupiter? It better be a pet store on Jupiter, or I'm leaving right now. So even if you didn't want to be in a pet store as that second person, improv rules dictate that you're like, the hamsters smell wonderful today. You know, you keep it moving.
Okay. So let's chat then. Daniel, we're gonna do a quick example of one-word stories. One-word stories are pure improvisation, and they are the foundation of yes and. So Derek, come off of mute and just give me a noun, any random noun, Derek.
Dog.
Perfect. So Daniel and I are going to tell a one-word story about dogs. Daniel, I'll start. Ready? Go. Dogs
Are
my
favorite
animal.
that
I
can.
eat.
Did you say eat?
Eat
This
is,
unconventional.
but
I
am
simply
stuck.
eating
Dogs.
because
I'm
very
starving.
and
Stuck.
period.
All right, let's stop.
I
So,
apologize to any dogs. No dogs were harmed in.
but let's
making
talk
that.
about this, Daniel. Let's talk about what happened. I wanted you to go somewhere. I wanted to build a world where I was stuck and dogs were the only food. You were like, what are we doing? We should talk about taking them for a walk and loving dogs. So let's talk about one-word stories and what happened right there.
Yeah, I was gonna say at one point you were like, I was gonna say poor because I'm like that would be a reason to eat dogs, but then I said very, and I was like, let him figure out how he feels about this situation, which is part of the interesting part of the story. Sometimes you're just supplying the connector words. Sometimes you're in charge of a big decision.
But the idea here is I had to let go of my agenda, right? I had to let go of my agenda on this because Daniel wasn't going where I wanted him to go. And I certainly wasn't going where he wanted. So let's do it together. Let's do Daniel. Lydia, are you okay to play? Let's do Daniel, Lydia, Derek. No, not yet. He'll be next. Zach and Nohi are next round. All right, so Daniel, Lydia, Derek. Daniel, Lydia, Derek. Daniel, Lydia, Derek. Zach, what's their noun? What's their topic?
Taxidermy.
Nice. All right.
Daniel, start.
Sorry.
Killed.
Sorry, what'd you say?
A.
Stuffed.
Parrot.
And
When
It.
talks
to
My.
grandma
I
Worry.
about
my
Grandma.
and
sanity.
One more sentence.
From.
sorry, what'd you say?
I said from sanity. He said sanity, and I said from.
My
Brain.
Because
it
Isn't
fully.
developed.
Yeah! 3 total strangers just made a killer story about taxidermy. All right, you don't have to turn on your video if you don't want, but come off of mute and it's going to be me, you, and Zach, okay? Are you still there? All right, yeah, you don't, okay.
Yeah, let's
cool.
do it.
Even better. All right, so it's Jay, Zach, Nohi. Jay, Zach, Nohi. And Lydia, our topic is?
Desks.
Dentist? Death? Did you say death or dentist?
Desks.
Dice.
Desks. Okay.
Yes.
Desks.
Oh,
Okay,
heavy,
sorry.
dude.
Desks. Jay, Zach, Nohi. Desks.
Oh,
Desks. Zach, you say something.
oh, sorry. Are
Difficult.
Because
they
Cost.
so
much
Energy.
one
in particular
Costs.
over
3 billion
Energies.
Final
yesterday,
sentence. This is getting somewhere.
last sentence. Yesterday,
my
Let's pick it up.
Father.
decided
to
Invest.
in
rainforests
Because
desks
are
wood.
awesome.
Resounding. Magnificent.
That was really, really awesome. Does anybody on here want to go? I'm not going to force you. Anybody else want to go before we move to the next section? Going
We'll leave
once,
a dramatic pause for anyone to join.
going twice. All right. So this is a picture from Creative Mornings Denver. Creative Mornings Denver is a monthly meetup. And on the way in, they gave everybody one Lego Duplo. And this is what they created. And Daniel, how easy would it be? Daniel, the mascot, how easy would it be to tear this apart and be like, this is so stupid. It's not structurally sound. There shouldn't be an eye there. This doesn't even make sense. How easy would it be to do that?
I would just smash that thing to pieces. It's ridiculous.
That's it. Or we could say, this is gorgeous. I can't believe over 150 people made this together. And in the world of improv, in the world of improvisation, they say, bring a brick, not a cathedral. Bring a brick, not a cathedral. And what this has to do with you specifically is, yes, as salespeople, as entrepreneurs, you got to know your stuff. You got to be driving towards something. But what you want to do is leave room for improvisation in these presentations. You never want to memorize the script. And you always want to leave room to be able to deal with the unexpected, because that's where the magic happens. This is Kate McKinnon. None of us are as creative as all of us. If you think about our desk story, you think about our different stories. Individually, we never could have come up with something so creative. Very last module, and we're going to get out of here early. Authenticity builds trust and connection. Daniel, what the heck does be authentic? What does that even mean? It's such a buzzword. Everybody's like, oh, it's authentic this, it's so authentic. What the heck does it mean for comedy? What does it mean for comedy?
I'm
And I'll
trying to
talk
figure it out
about
too, because like people want me to be authentic, and I'm like, but how do you want me to be authentic specifically? And then I try and balance what everyone's idea of authenticity is of me, and then I try and mimic that in a false way. Authenticity is all comedy comes from pretty much an authentic place these days. There used to be a lot of characters, and there still are some, but coming like once you to establish that connection with your audience, which it is vital to do to have them be on your page. Yeah, authenticity is the way you do it.
the ability to speak one's truth without the fear of being judged.
Oh, imagine not being judged for a second, everybody. It'll never happen, but just imagine how nice that would be.
Now it's not being judged though, right, Daniel? It's without the fear of being judged. That's what authenticity means. And here's the
Right.
catch.
You know people will judge you. You don't care.
No, but the idea is exactly what we've been talking about. If you're a salesperson or an entrepreneur, or you're speaking in front of your team, do you actually know what you're talking about? it's so easy to speak in front of a room when you actually know what you're talking about and you can speak from the heart, right? So early in my career, I was telling jokes that simply weren't true. There was an inauthentic persona of made up stuff that was dirty just to get laughs. And I know that the audience knew it. Sure, I'd get some laughs, but now my stories are easier to tell because it actually happens, right? And the same things happen with salespeople. So when I coach salespeople and they're trying to pitch a technology they don't understand, their body language is like, they look terrible. And I'm like, stop, please stop the pitch. Stop and tell me, what's your favorite holiday memory? Where's your favorite slice of pizza in Denver? Or even like, tell me a funny story about your dog or your cat. And all of a sudden, these people light up. And they're the great presenters I know they can be because they're just telling me a story. That's the catch there. When you want to be authentic in a boardroom, when you want to be authentic in the pitch, make sure you know what you're talking about. And if you don't, that's fine. You got two options. Number one, you got to work harder to learn. Or number two, bring along a subject matter expert. Bring along somebody that knows what they're talking about. So you, as the salesperson or the entrepreneur, can talk about the business. You could talk about the things that you know, and then bring a subject matter expert that can go deep into the technology so they can speak authentically and then bring it together as a team sell. But when we talk about authentic storytelling, when we talk about this stuff, it just comes down to, did it happen to you? And never memorize a script. Anything else you want to add, Daniel? I think, well, actually, let me tee you up. We've talked about this on your podcast. I think that's why I wasn't as successful as a comedian, because I was hiding behind this armor of manufactured jokes of things that never happened because I was afraid to bomb. And then what's worse is if I'm telling you really about me and I bomb, that's really painful. If you bomb telling BS lie jokes, it's like, yeah, it was a bad night, but they don't know me. I got this armor on, I got this shield on, right? So I mean, talk to me. How do you view it as a comedian, the authenticity?
I mean, that's exactly it right there. And first off, I also want to give you more credit. Jay was better than he's letting on at being a dirty, cheesy douchebag. Okay, he really wore that armor well for a few years, and boy, if it sure looked like it fit. But we knew that the real Jay was someone different, and that all comes down to, and you've probably heard this term before, finding your voice, which is something comedians do. It's something artists do, from dancing to visual media to journalism to writing to doing any businessy thing. Pretty much, you find your own voice in how you can come across as authentic. And it is a process of kind of like putting on that armor, trying on different kinds of armor, and then taking that armor off and because as you did say, like when people reject the real you rather than like a construct or a character of you, it can be way more painful. So it's something you work up to little by little. And it really does come down to like flight hours, getting practice, and intentionally trying to nudge yourself in the right direction.
I love it. All right, so let's wrap. I'm going to wrap with one last story.
Okay, Jay does this awesome 5-minute rap. It's like Hamilton. But
my name is Jay, and I'm here to say, Pitch Lab will change your life in a major way. All right.
And we've lost everybody. All right.
Sorry. This has been your funnier Pitch Lab, though, Daniel. This has been the funniest one since that one at AOR pre-COVID when, yeah.
Oh, and I got punched by a insane person outside right before. Yeah, that was fun.
I'm going to close up with the story on authenticity. And this is what we call in the biz a callback. This is a callback. Remember I told you about those charismatic juicer salespeople? I'm going to tell you a quick story. This was a story, actually a study from Vanessa Van Edwards. If you don't know her, get to know her. She's brilliant. But this was a study from Vanessa Van Edwards about 2 juicer salespeople in a mall. And these 2 juicer salespeople, they looked the same. They sounded the same. They dressed the same. They had the same pitch deck. But what the study was the juicer salesperson on this side of the mall was told, I want you to go out there and I want you to crush this pitch. I want you to do a great job. I want you to connect. I want you to do a great job with the pitch. And then when it comes time to pour the juice samples, I want you to pour those juice samples perfectly, and I want you to hand them out. However, the juicer salesperson on this side of the mall.
Now that person A little less polished, shall we say. They were what you would call a sloppy dingus in professional terms. And although nice and good-hearted, well-meaning dingus, poorly does pretty much everything. And then when it comes time to pouring the juice, oh God, I'm so sorry. It goes over, it falls over. It's a mess.
So nailed it, spilled it. Who do you think sold more juicers?
Jeopardy music.
The one that spilled.
Of
They felt
course.
bad for him.
That's
Why? Why, Lydia?
They felt bad for him.
What else? What else?
He was goofy.
Zach?
I don't
And I
know.
felt bad for him because they connected
Oh, 'cause he was
to
his
his.
whistle.
No, totally. That's it. To an authentic, albeit embarrassing moment.
Zach, tell me, do you believe that?
Yes, I do.
Here's your last takeaway when it comes to being authentic. Your audience doesn't care about perfection. They just want connection. That's the importance of authenticity. That's the authenticity of letting go and improvising. Your audience doesn't care about perfection. They just want connection. So we said at the beginning, we want you to have one takeaway that makes you excited to get up there and pitch and present. I'd love to hear. Jump into chat. What is your number one takeaway from our time together?
What's your mental souvenir that you're going to put on the shelf in your mind, and then you can look at it every once in a while and remember? The
Lydia says dramatic pause. Good job, Lydia.
Indeed.
Oh,
And if you want to make it extra dramatic, you do something like, and like throw your hand over your head like a British royal.
All right. So your call to act. Ooh. Butterflies
will
carry us to the promised land. No, he. All right.
Yes, he.
I am excited.
Affirming. Yes, and he. That's what I've learned. It's the improv rule.
Less content allows more dots. Awesome, Zach. Awesome. All right.
And an advanced version of bring less content is bring no content. And that's an advanced one where you really have no idea and you should not actually be in the situation you're in. But if you can handle that shit, you're kind of an awesome con person and you should be swindling people out of fortunes.
Okay. We don't recommend that. Daniel's
It's
going
an
into a
advanced technique. I
bit.
told him not to,
Daniel's going into a bit, everybody.
discretion. Authenticity is
Augusta,
the imperfect me.
Thank you, Augusta. Nice to hear from you. Authenticity is the imperfect me, and that's what they want.
And you're perfectly imperfect.
You are. All right. So your call to action is we've given you some awesome tips, but you got to get out there and practice. This is what comedians do. They go on stage. They don't care if there's anybody in the room or not. They don't care if there's bikers shooting pool and the Denver Broncos are playing on the TV. They're going to get on that mic.
I mean, we
You
care.
got to keep
We'll just do it
practicing.
anyway.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. That won't deter them. You're right, Daniel. You're right. You
We
got
care
to keep
deeply.
practicing.
Yeah.
Just pick one tip. Don't change everything all at once. Pick one tip, work it in. That's what great comedians do. When they got a new joke, they bookend it between two jokes that work. I'm going to use a joke that works. I'm going to try something new and I'm going to do a joke that works. Boom. That's what I want you to do.
Yeah. The classic mistake is comedians will write new jokes they're excited about and be like, I'm just going to open with this. And then it just falls flat. And they're like, oh shit, I forgot. I should have established credibility with my audience first by telling a funny joke I know works.
That's it. That's it. So quick wrap on Pitch Lab, our clients. We work with sales teams, super smart people that have done awesome work, but they just need a little bit of help presenting themselves better. If you want to learn more about us, we're at pitchlab.io. That's pitchlab.io. I'm working on the .com, but there's a squatter there and we're still a startup. So we just went with IO. Big thanks to, drum roll, big thanks to everybody at Denver Startup Week. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, John, head of this track. Thank you, Chantel, and also Fluid Truck, our sponsor tonight. Had a great time. And one more round of applause. Give him some love, ladies and gentlemen. Daniel Reskin. Daniel, do you want to plug things?
Yay. Thank you, friends. My comedian's worth is dictated by my Twitter follower, YouTube, Twitch. If you have any of these things, throw me a follow, a subscribe, whatever it is. Thank you all. And hit us up if you have any questions or comments or follow up, or you have a fever dream in 3 years and you're like, holy shit, I need to tell somebody. Just hit us up.
Thanks a lot, y'all. We had a great time. Enjoy the rest of Denver Startup Week. Break a leg. Thank you.
Yay.